Well, hello Riven mains and Yasuo mains alike. I am the Nightwing, Way of Life Esports, coming at you guys with another League of Legends video. So we have finally got confirmation of Evil Genius's mid laner, which is going to be Jizuke, after Evil Geniuses failed to secure Chovy from the LCK. Now, that could have been due to maybe the buyout was very big on Chovy, or just the fact that communicating with him is probably fairly hard, considering the fact that he lives in, well, Korea, and he probably wants to go to a different team in Korea to stay, obviously, within his home region. Remember, Chovy is a very young player, around 18, 19 years old. He probably doesn't want to take a big step in his career right now to obviously move toward North America, but Jizuke is obviously a lot older, and Jizuke is going to be joining Evil Geniuses. That means their roster is Kumo, Svenskeren, Jizuke, Bang, and Zazel. Now, looking at how that roster has exactly paired up, I'm not too sure about it because Jizuke has had a rather lackluster year in the LEC. I mean, anybody who's watched EU would know what I'm talking about because he has not looked that good all year long. The fact that he was one of the considerations is pretty questionable by me because he didn't display any type of life this season after maybe 2 weeks of spring. And then every single week he played, it was really bad. There was a week he got sick, and then he got subbed out because he got sick. He came back, and it was just pretty bad overall. Now, looking at how he'll synergize with these North American players in Bang and Svenskeren, I'm not really too sure how that's going to pan out. But let's read about this acquisition from Evil Geniuses. Evil Geniuses is reportedly set to round out its League of Legends roster with Team Vitality mid laner Jizuke. Wolf and Erzberger also reported that this deal was made after EG failed to recruit former Griffin mid laner Chovy, who will reportedly be staying in Korea to join Dragon X with teammate Doran. Chovy was one of the most talented mid laners in the world in 2019 and was one of the most prized free agents once his contract was dissolved by Griffin. So Dragon X was going to announce their mid laner actually tomorrow on their YouTube channel. So if you're in Korea, you would have already seen it. I'm not subscribed to their YouTube channel, but yeah, so Chovy is going to Dragon X. That is ridiculous. So that means it's going to be Chovy and Deft on the same team. Man, that's going to be a dream right there of a team, since Deft probably wants a really good mid laner, and Chovy is one of the best mid laners right now currently in League of Legends. And then before this report decision, ESPN said that EG management discussed the possibilities of an imported mid laner. Former T1 top laner Khan was considered, while resident NA players like Demonte and Pobelter were looked at as options in the mid lane. Jizuke will reportedly be joining former Cloud9 jungler Svenskeren, Zazel, and Kumo, and former 100 Thieves AD carry Bang on EG's LCS starting roster. Svenskeren is also expected to declare North American residency for this up-and-coming off-season, which frees up an import slot for Evil Geniuses. Last season, Jizuke had a tough time with Vitality. He had the 4th most deaths in the LEC and one of the lowest KDAs for any mid laner in the league. His team failed to get past the first round of the playoffs in both splits. This move represents a fresh start for the 23-year-old. After having spent 2 years with Vitality, he'll be aiming to push forward and help Evil Geniuses make LCS debut a success story to look back on next year. So I don't really know if this is an actual good move for Evil Geniuses, given the fact that he had a really bad year, and there were points where he did look pretty solid, but he just looked bad. And I understand they couldn't get Chovy because there may have been some complications in terms of communicating with him, salary discussions. Evil Geniuses have a lot of money, so they're not really, going to worry about the salary. It's just more like, are they going to build an infrastructure in their organization that allows Chovy to flourish is probably what he was worried about, because there's been a lot of Koreans who came to North America and have went back to say that the infrastructure for North Americans is just not that polished when it comes to importing Koreans, though it has worked out on other organizations. So it really just depends on where you've actually gone to when the Koreans or any of the imported players have actually come over. So looking at this right now, I think that their roster is still pretty solid, despite Jizuke not looking that great. but it's going to be really hard to pit where their roster is really going to lie at, because I think their roster is going to be around middle of the pack playoff material. And we have to kind of see what other teams are going to have to be solidifying their rosters at, because we're going to have solidified rosters in a couple of weeks, because the split starts next month. So, or at the end of next month, so they're going to have these academy rosters and LCS rosters ready. So I'm not happy about the move. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think that it's a pretty bad move, but I would have just chosen Pobelter or Demonte. Now, there's no offense to Jizuke, but I think most of you guys would understand. And it's not because of it being a North American talent. It's nothing to do with that. He actually looked horrible this year. It was bad. If you watch EULCS, LEC, or whatever you want to frickin' call it nowadays, he looked bad. And the fact that he was a consideration is questionable, but it's something that I'll never understand. But it's okay. It's okay. Jizuke is going to be on Evil Geniuses. So, in the last news video, I forgot to go over the TSM Academy roster. Sorry about that, guys. I was just trying to finish that video up because I had to go do something really quick. But TSM officially reveals its LCA and NA Academy rosters. Could this be the year the TSM returns to form? It's been a busy League of Legends offseason for TSM, but after a month of move and staff changes, the team has finally introduced its starting rosters for both its LCS and NA Academy teams for the 2020 season. As announced before, TSM has added talented jungler Dardoch, along with the new bottom lane LC AD carry Kabe, and support Biofrost. Superstar Bjergsen will be leading the charge alongside last year's top laner Broken Blade. And then TSM made it official on their Twitter account. TSM official 2020 LCS roster announcement, and their academy roster is also announced as well. TSM has also gathered a collection of young talents to play for its academy squad in 2020. Former Optic Gaming top laner Dokla will be joining jungler Spica and mid laner Evolved and Lost and Treats. The TSM staff looks a little bit different now too. Peter Zhang is the head coach of the LCS lineup. He was chosen due to his experience and skill set while having worked with the team for the past year. Lustboy will be the strategic coach, while Haithagam Albagori will be joining the team as assistant coach. While TSM heads off to Shanghai for a team boot camp, fans can help but wonder if these changes are enough to push them past the obstacles they ran into over the past 2 years. With Kabe, Dardoch, and Biofrost, this team could be great if they can actually develop good communication and a clear team identity. So, I'll talk about the TSM Academy roster because most people already know. I already did a video talking about the TSM main team. I know a lot of people didn't like that video, but I mean, hey, it's my opinions. What can you really do? But let's see. The TSM Academy roster doesn't look that bad. I think that Dokla only looked as bad as he did because he was on Optic, which was probably poorly ran, given the fact that, you know, they were bought out and they probably just didn't care that they were getting bought out. They're getting money, and they're like, well, Academy doesn't really mean anything, and our LCS roster is kind of just bad, so let's just give up. That's the feeling that I got from them. So I'm glad to see him actually take a big step in his career into being on a bigger organization. Remember, this is his big shot at doing well. I'm not going to lie to you guys who are TSM fans. If Broken Blade leaves after this year, then next year coming up. So let's say he leaves in 2021. There's a good chance that Dokla could be your starter. Now, I don't know if there's any worse punishment than that, but that is some big punishment right there. So in 2021, there's a good possibility if Dokla does improve, he could be TSM starting top laner for 2021. But that would be, oh god, that literally sounds like hell. Spica, I'm glad he got a second chance because TSM kind of threw him into the deep end with bloody meat strapped to his neck and a bunch of great white sharks about to circle him. Now, that is good that they chose to give him another chance because I would have lost all shade of respect I have for that organization at all if he did not get another shot. It was not his fault they failed. I hate when people blamed him. There's nothing he could have did possibly better. Yeah, Spica is going to go up against Lyra. Lyra's not that good, but the skill gap right there is pretty high, and it wasn't his fault. I'm glad he gets another chance. Lost was on Echo Fox Academy, and you guys remember Treats last year. TSM actually won an Academy split. FlyQuest, TSM, 100 Thieves, and Cloud9 have all won Academy splits. There hasn't been a multiple Academy split champion yet. There still has yet to be one, but looking at this roster, it does look pretty good, all things considered. And the TSM staff, Peter Zhang pretty much took over from Zix's position last year anyway, so that was to be expected anyway. You have Lustboy. Lustboy's been with the team since he left a Freak of Freaks, since they came into the LCK a long time ago. Then you also had who else is on here? No, those are the only two people I actually really know between Peter Zhang and Lustboy. So let's hope that their staff and roster changes actually help them get back to their perennial top spot in the North American LCS. Another article popped up today. LCS is killing itself by not truly investing in domestic talent. So let's read this giant article. Holy crap, there is a lot of words here. Guys, if I mess anything up, please forgive me. There's a lot of words here. The day when the offseason began, Jacob Wolf sat in the ESPN studio dropping a trail of breadcrumbs for everyone wanting to follow who was going to end up where. Fionn and Emily end up in another studio where ESPN continues its coverage with a first-of-its-kind live free agency show. The 19th of November saw reveal after reveal, with probably the most shocking part being that the numbers attached to the dollar signs that came up with contract deals and buyout negotiations, more and more the question is rising to people's lips was the same. Is it too fast? Vulcan, the rookie support who had spent 2 years in Academy to find himself in LCS as a starting support for Clutch Gaming, later bought by Dignitas and was brought on by Cloud9 as a support ranked highly by analysts and talk show and friends alike. It was no surprise that he was brought into as one of the most storied franchises in League. What raises eyebrows and sparked discussions was Wolf report that the amount paid for his buyout was a whopping $1.5 million, along with the addition of their Academy team's AD carry as a sweetener. Perhaps even more shocking, though hardly by much, would be some of the revelations of salary for particular players. Loco, former coach of TSM, revealed on multiple talk shows that Wild Turtle, the AD carry for FlyQuest, was being paid a whopping $700,000 salary this year, despite being one of the 4 worst performing carries within the league in the previous split. Huni, a once-upon-a-time top-lane god, was being paid $2.3 million by Dignitas in guaranteed money across 2 years. In contrast, the salary for the 2 biggest players in European history, Perks and Reckless, hover somewhere in the 6-figure mark cost, likely lower than the FlyQuest's carry. Okay, so let me cover this part up. The Vulcan part, like I said before, as a Cloud9 fan, I do not agree with that. The buyout on him is ridiculous. There's nothing he has achieved that accumulates this value. So if you take off of his this year alone, they didn't make playoffs in spring. That Vulcan was on that roster. Remember, in summer they almost took tail to 5 games and they finished 4th on the split, but technically finished 3rd when they qualified as the 3rd seed for the regional qualifier to go to the World earlier this year. So his highest placing in North America is 4th, and he went to group stage, in the main group stage, and he went 0-6, and in the play-in stage, that team struggled to beat Unicorns of Love, and they went, 3-3 or something like that? And I don't think anything he's done so far in his career warrants that price tag. They're basically giving him enough that you would probably pay for a really good import. Like, you could give Def, yeah. If you gave Def that money, he would have probably came over here because that's insane. And I don't think he's done anything in his career to warrant this price. Like, there's nothing you can convince me with. There's nothing, because I'm open to hearing others' opinions. I'm open to hearing your line of thought, but Vulcan does not, like, if you paid Smoothie that would make sense, because he's made it to finals, multiple worlds, and has almost actually made it out of group stage a couple times. So you can't tell me that Vulcan is worth more than Smoothie. You can't even tell me that Vulcan is worth more than Biofrost, because that's just not true. I don't understand where that price tag came from. It probably had to been due to the fact that Dignitas paid so much for Huni that getting that money from Cloud9 obviously meant that they needed that money to buy other pieces of the roster. And if that's the reason why, I can't knock them for that. And Cloud9 being like, okay, we need a new support. We've had Zeyzal for 2+ years, no titles, gotta get new support. Now, the Wild Turtle salary is stupid. I mean, FlyQuest is whack, their brand is whack, their team is always whack. There's just a whack brand. No offense to any FlyQuest fans out there, that's probably like 5 people, but your team and brand is whack. I wish it was better. I have hopes that eventually it will be better. And paying Wild Turtle that much money when he was like one of the worst ADCs is ridiculous, man. Like, good lord. Sneaky was playing better. Sven played better. Apollo played better. Wild Turtle's performance has been declining since good lord knows how long. 2016 spring was the last title he won. No, 2017 spring was the last title he won when he subbed in for Double Lift. And yeah, that's when he was decent, and he hasn't really been that good for a while. Now, in terms of players like Perks and Reckless, I could understand why they get that much money, because they are the franchise players. They have storied careers that line up with that amount of money. So if I gave Perks 800K, it would make sense in the context of World Finals, international title, multiple LEC splits. Most of the time, G2 has finished first place beside their bad stints in 2017 summer is when that happened, where they had a bad stint there. And then you have the stint in 2018 where they finished second and fourth in those splits. So there's been only a few splits where Perks' valuation in terms of where it goes through doesn't really match up, but for most of the career it does. And that's just where I don't understand, is just where do these valuations come from when they have no merit whatsoever? I'm not trying to knock anybody, but they don't merit their price tag. So that's what I'm saying. It isn't as if North America teams aren't trying to get EU Masters rookies at this point. Players like Larson, Nemesis, and Humanoid aren't just players who pop up once in a generation. Europe's culture manages to produce them once a year at this point. Unfortunately, more and more players within EU Masters, Europe's equivalent of Academy, are turning down offers of big money because they'd rather have a chance to be the best region in a region that has undoubtedly proven itself. League's profitability problem. Be it HUK's incredibly cynical outlook over the viability of having a franchise slot, or the speculation from various journalists and figures about monetization problems in esports, there's no doubt that esports isn't currently profitable. Teams in League alike are working on the model that, with the amount of fan engagement that they're getting, as well as the possibility of eventual avenues to monetize, are going to be enough to start ranking in the profits that esports will. Seemingly inevitable recap. The problem comes with the leagues like the LCS, where you're pioneering yourself into a place where you're forced to continue to spend ludicrous amounts of money for talent, domestic or otherwise. The 2020 season of the LCS will see players like Pobelter and possibly Demonte not playing within the league itself. The 2020 season also sees an exceptionally low number of domestic players having their rookie LCS season this year, be it from moving up in the academy or just being scouted out from solo queue. Under situations where your mantra is inevitably going to be import or die, it's impossible to prevent prices of players from growing disproportionately to the amount of money that they can bring back to an organization. You have to start to ask yourself, why is it so hard to field local players? Why is it that the value of a good but not the best support is sitting at 1.5 million and an extra player on the side? Similarly, how is a player so far past his prime that he couldn't even look back and see it, being given a salary higher that the most esteemed Western players modern League of Legends has ever seen? Brandini won the 2019 spring season of Academy underneath the TSM roster as a top laner, and as yet hasn't found himself signed to a team or even brought up in discussions or a team to acquire. That's because Brandini sucks. No offense to that. He sucked at 100 Thieves Academy. This dude got absolutely carried by the TSM Academy lineup. Go watch those TSM Academy against Cloud9 and the finals. that guy got carried. That's why he wasn't chosen. But I do believe he still should at least be in the LCS. Like, there's some good players that should be in the LCS. DeMonte, Pobelter, I even believe, as much as you guys don't believe me, Sneaky should be in the LCS. Sneaky could have been on Dignitas. Alphamu, it's rumored that he's going to be on Dignitas, but Sneaky and Alphamu should be on Dignitas. I believe Sneaky is still good enough to be on an LCS roster. Actually, why don't they kick Wild Turtle and put Sneaky there? I'm pretty sure you guys would agree with me on that, wouldn't you? Kick Trash Turtle, put my boy Sneaky over there, because he deserves it. I mean, that's just, I don't understand how they haven't did it. FlyQuest would gain a bigger brand, by Sneaky, kick Wild Turtle. That's all you gotta do. You see what I'm saying there? There's good players that we have not playing in the LCS. You don't always have to import. You just have to... I'm fine with importing. I really am. But how about 2 North American talents, 3 players from a different region? Sounds viable, right? Or 3 from here and 2 from another region. Because that way, you're counting on your imports to be really good. And they should be paid a much because they're your imports. Have your other players be good, serviceable carry players that are flexible. If you can find these players, I know it's very hard, but that's where most teams get that thing from. Because remember, Cloud9 in 2018 had that. 2 imports, Jensen and Svenskeren, Licorice, Sneaky, and Zazel could be carry threats at certain points. You have 2 imports and 3 players that can actually hold the team down. That's where I'm going at with this, because this is going to be the overall future. I mean, it can't be all imports, because there's too many years where imports are actually going to be, required to get that many years. Bjergsen's been here since 2014 spring, and he just got his residency last year or something like that. So yeah, it's not exactly going to be truly investable for imports, even that at that point, because you can't even use an all import roster, because it takes years for them to actually be considered, in a resident. So that's also something you also have to consider. Fake God was announced to be the rookie of the split for LCS Summer 2019 as the top lane player for 100 Thieves, as one of the most coveted roles for having a good domestic player due to the difficulty of finding a domestic top laner like Licorice who can hold his own. Fake God should have had a slew of offers to develop his talents instead of 2020 Spring Split sees him back where he was before, 100 Thieves Academy team. Prismal came out of the Championship Academy Summer Split underneath 100 Thieves roster in 2019, including best of 5 victories over Cloud9 Academy team, which featured 3 players who are now in the LCS. Even so, he has not been brought up in discussions for acquisition. The major cost of running a team comes in player expenditure. Bottom of the table teams will soon find themselves unable to field a roster that will be competitively viable should they continue to rely on imports and scorn the structures they should be relying on. Bottom of the table teams. If teams like FlyQuest and Golden Guardians, who should reasonably have no aspirations for attending Worlds within the 2020 season, refuse to take risk on low cost rookie players who they could develop across a full season into talents, they could never be truly competitive. Teams in the LCS seem more and more unwilling to accept their inadequacy due to the system that they themselves have cultivated. Instead of going for strategies similar to Europe, like teams like Mad Lions, formerly Splice, who have just picked up 4 rookies to see who can survive the trials of a proper high-level league, they are still emptying their pockets out to no avail. Big brands are not getting them, big brands are not getting them engagement. Imported players are not getting them to top 3. The only thing that these teams are accomplishing is drilling an even bigger hole in their pockets as they continue to kick the entire scene into the curb. Is it particularly impossible that there are no players who are enough of a hot prospect to have an entire season to prove themselves on a bottom team? The longer people wait, the more talents will return the longer people wait, the more talents will turn their eyes onto being a streamer, onto moving from the game, and onto burning themselves out on Academy, knowing that they're playing in a system that is built to be prejudiced against those who are born and breed it. Profitability will come in esports, but the more LCS teams continue to choke in their own talent out, the harder they make it for themselves to cut costs without having the entire scene cave in on itself. Eventually, the question needs to be asked: when will it be too late? I mean, This article was one of the most best written articles I have read in a while, and I've read some bad articles actually, but I understand where people are coming from, and that's why I don't understand why people rag on Cloud9 for building up domestic talent and then selling them, because without that, what do you have? And that's not because I'm dick riding my own team. I hate when people say that. When you actually give a logical argument, oh no, you're a dick rider. Shut up. Yes, because you clearly know how to, debate with a person that has logic, and you're using just sound stupid arguments. People on Reddit are so retarded. But I think Cloud9 should always be respected for that. Bringing in talent like that and then building them up and then giving them a shot. Because other teams don't do that. Yes, some have done it, but their infrastructure doesn't support it. You can theoretically swap out a player and bring up a North American player. Now let's use the Prismal example. Remember in spring earlier this year when 100 Thieves was absolutely dog shit. Like dog shit. Dog shit. You know how they kind of swapped everybody out just for those 2 days and then they didn't put in Prismal? Why? He had been playing good in Academy all split long. They swapped out everybody except for Bang. What? See, that is what they're talking about. Is that even when the chance arises it for itself, 100 Thieves was already out. It wasn't going to matter anyway. Why didn't he get a shot? Why didn't he get a shot? You see what I'm saying here? There are other players like that as well. Demonte and Pobelter have proven themselves they should be on LCS starting teams. Some of the imports they've chosen is like, Ica, yes, Ica. I've seen the EU Master team he was on. It wasn't that bad. He's gotten way better since the last time I've seen him. But why not try Pobelter? Why not try out Demonte? Like, if Dignitas wants to be what is salvageable, the rumor is that Froggen is going to be over there. But I think that to have them, because theoretically, look at it this way. They can get a brand from this. This is their best chance to get a brand because they've always been kind of whack. Dignitas, Sneaky, Castro. Come on, let's bring it all back. Sneaky and Alphamu, Demonte or Pobelter on Dignitas. That'll be an NA roster. You got some pretty good players, some average players, some carry players, some flexible players. It could work out. Will it justify the buyout valuation? Probably, and nowhere near hell no. But that's not going to happen for Sneaky, because Johnson is there. So let's try another route. They're going to need an NA jungler and a NA mid laner, possibly. Or they might get Froggen. So that's what I'm saying. Try out a domestic talent for jungler. That's what they're probably going to be doing, because they're obviously having trouble signing players. I think that Alphamu should go here. So they'll have, a North American player on their roster. But it's just, we have good players in the North American Academy scene. Whether people choose to watch Academy is not my problem, because you just don't understand what I'm talking about. For people that look at the Academy scene and see some good players there are good players there. How about I actually look up some Academy games right here? LCS Academy. I don't think they have all the rosters listed. Academy rosters 2019. If I could just pick out a few players here. NALC Academy Summer. No. I want to go to the summer season rosters. All right, so let's see. Let's go to show rosters right here. Show rosters. Okay, so looking at everything, why is Jukes not on a team, man? Jukes, come on, man. Jukes. Let's see about all these players right here. There's definitely good players here. Let's find some, because I've seen some of these players before. Tuesday is good. I like Tuesday. He was on CLG Academy. He was good. Tuesday was good. You also had Tuesday and Otto were good. I like those two. Moon is garbage. No. Moon had his chance. Moon is trash. Moon is garbo. Let's see what else is here. FlyQuest Academy. It's hard. FlyQuest Academy is. There's some decent players in this. Strompes is not bad. Maxi is not bad. No. Yeah, Maxi is not bad. These two are okay. GGS Academy. Why is it filled with LCS players? Palafox, just forget that one. Optic Academy. Scarlet looked pretty decent in the games they gave him a chance to. Gate Asta. Nah, freak those guys. Those guys are bad. Let's go. Insanity. I would take him. Let's go. Odd Orange had some salvageable games, and yeah, that's about it out there. TSM Academy brand. I don't like branding these playstyle, but I'll take him. A Blaze Olive. Like, why is he not chosen? Then you have that's it. Yeah, because Tactical is still playing with the roster. Yeah, Tactical and Treats are still there. So let's see. Looking at these win percentages, I mean, it's Cloud9 Academy usually does pretty well for Academy, and they've won it before. So let's see where this lands up, because you have like I can come in here and name out like 9 different players out of these rosters and know they deserve spots. You know what I mean? Some don't because they're not that good. I understand that. But if we don't try out any of these players, what's the point of having them here? The point of having them there is to be in the LCS. Yes, I know if they go to Worlds, they might suck. But that's just the problem that's going to align with that. That you can't get away from that. You know what I mean? If these let's say if half these players get on LCS rosters, and let's say at one point they choose top 3 orgs, those top 3 orgs go to Worlds. Let's say those players choke internationally. It happens. People learn from that, but we're never gonna get a chance to get through that growing pain if we don't give them a chance. You know what I'm saying? So, yep. Sorry about this long rant and / article and news video. What do you guys think about all of this League of Legends news? I really enjoy that I get to be able to talk to you guys about this and give you guys this fresh League of Legends content. So I'll see you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy. What do you think about Jizuke joining Evil Geniuses? What do you think about TSM's Academy and LCS and coaching staff? What do you think about NA killing itself by not investing into its domestic talent? And what do you think about Academy players actually being bumped into the LCS and not being thrown in on suicide games that depend on you win this game or I don't get to playoffs? I don't count that because that's too much pressure on one person, honestly. But we'll see how it goes. Like, comment, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy. I'm the Nightwing, and Way of Life Esports is signing out.
Hi there, guys! Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more stuff.
Yeah, thank you.